That's what we need. We need like more really ham-handed liberal television. It's not.
They're not represented in media, Taylor. Like, let me just say this:
have their fingers in every pie. We need more of that.
There's a change to come in, Taylor, because let me tell you this: I noticed this week for the first time in my entire life.
Okay.
So I consume a lot of right-wing media for a lot of reasons. It's almost comforting, like a warm blanket. Like, yeah, what's inside you is right. It's true. But you know, there are more of us. We must band together. That sort of thing. And I enjoy that. And they'll say they'll be like, oh, the election's over.
Say that.
And stuff like that. And I'll be like, ah. And then I'll switch over to, CNN, MSNBC. MSNBC's way over there on the left. And it's like night and day usually, except for this last week. It's because everybody's saying the same thing. They're making fun of Biden and talking about how Biden can't hack this. And there's this little crack of division in the party of people who are wanting him to step down and speaking vocally, publicly, that the president needs to step down or needs to be evaluated, or 25th Amendment this, or maybe Kamala does that. And if we can see that crack in the party, that means it's way bigger than what we're seeing. That means there's at least that many people over who are quiet, who don't want to who are waiting to see which side to jump on this.
We'll see. Because speaking from the left, I've seen that crack in the Trump world for years. Right? There's anti-Trumper is a term that everyone's heard of for a reason that exists. Mm-hmm. So now there's anti-Bidens, and I'm like, I don't know what to make of this, because I agree with you. Like when I watch every news source, and I watch a lot of news, ABC, NBC, Fox, and everybody is talking about Biden. Parkinson's disease is the new thing. I tried to look at Biden's Parkinson's disease diagnosis level-headedly. Looks guilty. Looks like he has it to me. I saw a guy on, I forget, one of the mainstream news is, call it NBC, but if it's not them, it's CBS or whatever. And this guy was a Parkinson's expert, Democrat. This is what he does. He diagnoses and treats Parkinson's for a living, neurologist, etc. Real medical doctor. And he's like, it's obvious. And he starts going through the things. Like when he walks, he doesn't swing his arms. His gait is like shuffling short steps. And I can't list all the things, but I've become an armchair Parkinson's disease expert over the last 2 days.
Very nice.
And it's like guilt, everything but the tremor. This guy fits. Oh, there's a lot of mental things having to do with trailing off towards the end of your sentence and getting quieter. I'm like, oh my God, he can't stop doing that.
Yeah.
And
doing it for years.
Did you see the Stephanopoulos interview that he did?
Not the whole thing through.
I
saw a lot of it though. I probably have 8 of the 20 minutes I saw. And I think I'm going to say what Taylor's thinking, which is that didn't help your case, right? If you're trying to get out there and say, hey, that guy you saw in the debate, that's a bad 90 minutes. Now I want to show you what I really got. And then you get more of the same. That is what I saw. That's what everybody's seeing. And I mean, you guys won't agree or approve of this mindset. I would literally vote for a corpse over Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is a bad, immoral person that just serves himself and tried to overthrow the country last time. I think he's the worst president we've ever had, and most historians agree with that. He's amongst the bottom 1 or 2 presidents in the history of the planet. But
in fairness, historians almost
the planet. All right, you can't say the planet. Only our.
Yeah,
country.
I went too far. I'll give you that.
That's just.
But yeah, I know Taylor's going to say all those historians are employed by Snopes and they're secret left-wing infiltrators, whatever.
No, they're openly left-wing.
Openly left-wing with not any sources or references. Just say that. But everybody seems to agree Trump, he's a terrible, terrible president, except for his sycophants. I would vote for a corpse over Trump, but I'm not lying when I say I kind of am voting for a corpse over Trump. I see that.
I don't think Trump is a good president, and I don't think he'll be a good president this next time. I will vote for him the same reason a lot of people voted for Biden, as a Trump thing, where they didn't actually like him.
Oh, okay.
I will vote Trump, CNN, establishment politicians, these forever wars, all these institutions like the CIA, the FBI, they all clearly hate him. And so it's oh, you hate this guy? I don't like you. I'm picking the guy you hate. If you hate him, it's I'd rather vote for the guy hated by all these despicable institutions than the person promoted by those institutions. And so it's just not a protest vote, but
I'm not allowed to vote, but if I were,
I'm going to mail one in for you, bud.
thank you. Like, just make it 10.
I'm going to mail 20 in for you, and I'm going to make you vote Democrat, bitch.
Not again. That's what you did last time.
I throw the election to troll you.
There's a South Park episode where Cartman has done that, and then he's
Yeah.
holding it over Kyle's head that he's responsible for Barack Obama being the president and all this goodwill that it's created. And so if Kyle doesn't be a slave, he's going to reveal that, actually, I stole the election. That's a good one. Yeah, I just really enjoy it when Trump wins. I
get it.
I like that he's a bit of a villain, you know. Seems like he might have even diddled them kids. That's a little concerning.
That I've been seeing a lot of attention towards lately. That rape
that and
case
Project 25. That's what we're pushing.
Project 2025. The rape case that was dismissed with him and the 13-year-old, the interview he did with Howard Stern, where he said he liked to peek on the barely dressed Team USA contestants.
They're pushing those first two hard.
And the Epstein files have been released, and like Trump apparently has all these call logs going back and forth with Epstein personally.
77 or so. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and then there's the girl who testified that Donald Trump had sexual.
That lying lady.
The one who liked the pert nipples or something like that. That thing.
I lied on Jared Fogle too.
There's definitely a trend of Trump and the pedophile angle, and it's all smoke, right? Until you see the video, and even then, who's going to believe it nowadays?
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks bad, but it's interesting. You can see when, like the media all gets like a pamphlet from the White House communication director, or at least all their cronies get the same message because they'll all use the same phraseology. There's a great montage of it on YouTube. If you search Biden sharp as attack, you'll see that there was this day when all of a sudden hundreds of people, the president is sharp as attack, and not just media, but politicians too. So you can see that there's it's a visible conspiracy. And you know how the internet can manipulate things. It's different voices and it's video. And they're like coming at you like a 1990s virtual reality game. There's so goddamn many of them.
I've enjoyed seeing, like, just now that it's acceptable to notice that Biden's a senile old man, like just a avalanche of it, where all these many journalists, a lot of politicians are just like, yeah, we've seen this for years. Yeah. Oh, that thing we were calling people a crazy conspiracy theorist for 3 months ago. Yeah. We've actually noticed a decline in him for years now, but it's acceptable to say now. And so we need to really figure out the future of the party. It's like, this has been happening and they've been covering it up, doing their best to running cover for him being a senile old man for years now. Our media apparatus is so corrupt. Just hand in glove with our elected officials.
We need Trump in there to root out corruption.
How many times can you remember Biden
probably just support Israel and give tax cuts to rich people? That's all he's going to do.
I can remember Biden falling to the ground no less than 3 different occasions. And,
yes.
And you know what I mean? And look, I get that, like, we all have a little slip every now and then. But is there anyone in the world who has the literal red carpet rolled out in front of them more often than this guy? This guy should never fall down. There's probably a guy that he's like,
there's a fall guy.
I have another thing I forgot to add earlier, but
nobody's caught him yet. You notice that? What are we doing?
I was talking about him and the Parkinson's diagnosis, and I knew that the White House doctor had met with a Parkinson's expert, and I was like, okay, that's a little suspicious. I don't want to go too overboard. And then I learned the White House doctor had met with the Parkinson's expert 8 times. And I'm like, okay, that seems like a lot. That seems like a lot to overlook. So
what do you like less? That your president's doctor consults with a Parkinson's expert on a daily basis, or that Donald Trump seems to consult with a pedophile wrangler on a daily basis?
The pedophile wranglers a wash. They all go to Pedo Island. They should probably
look. I'm on your team more or less, Taylor here, but that Epstein stuff is like I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Like that's wild.
I'm being antagonistic. Obviously, if he's going,
I know. Keep it up. Why are you peeling back the fucking third wall here? You're supposed to become more staunch.
Sorry, my bad. We've only got 9 minutes.
Yeah,
it's all fake news.
We'll see where this Trump
hit me with a
pedophile thing goes.
whataboutism.
The new thing I've been hearing lately, and this is funny to me, he could rape a child on Fifth Avenue and they'd still vote for him. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. You know, like not everybody, of course. There's people in the middle who are deciding who to vote for based on platforms or whatever, and they're choosing, right? I'm not 1,000% better. I'm over here literally saying I would vote for Biden's corpse.
Yeah,
corpse, because I think Trump is that bad a man.
You've been looking at
if there was indisputable evidence that Trump was doing that shit on Epstein Island, I think he loses everyone rapidly. Like no one's going to vote for an actual pedophile.
Do you want to do like a show on election night? Like, I don't know if it falls on election night, but would you like to like watch the results come in and record ourselves and like make that the show? Make that a segment
too, but I'm not sure it's
a really
possible anymore.
We could edit it after the fact to the good parts.
Well, I hear you, but
yeah, but they take 5 weeks to count election results.
All right, never.
That's where I'm with Taylor. Or even
we're gonna know. No. We're going to know. This is either.
Oh, if it's a slam dunk, we will.
The odds makers say that it is more likely that Trump wins a landslide than that Biden wins by a small margin at this point. Kamala is a better betting favorite to win. She's in second place right now, above Joe Biden.
No way. Nobody likes her.
She has been. Well, it's the eventuality if he dies.
Yeah, the Democrats have better people than Kamala.
Not according to the betting odds.
I disagree with Taylor, and it's not that I think that she's the best at running for office, which I think was the core of your point. But I think that she's like in place to take over Biden's like fundraising apparatus and slip right into that spot in the way that like Amy Klobuchar would be starting from scratch. She doesn't have a ground game, right? She doesn't have, but Kamala goes in there and just inherits everything that's done. And boom.
Yeah, the infrastructure's in place. That makes sense.
Yeah, that would be the smoothest transition and the least bumpy road would be Kamala taking over. Because, like you said, she inherits the entire apparatus and all the key holders with months and months of what's normally a lame duck presidency. But now instead it's, all right, we're going to get you up to speed on how we build your cabinet, what your first 100 days are, not start.
Ooh.
You've got this big head start, on her presidency.
I didn't consider her being
It's training
president.
wheels.
Do you think that is the...
If he dies right now, she takes over as president. She also takes over as candidate, in my opinion, like de facto.
So
then she starts her new presidency.
But you said if he dies, let's say he chooses not to run for re-election. He's stepping aside. Oh, by the way, if he steps aside, I'm making this prediction. If he steps aside, all the Democrats are going to feel like it's a heroic thing, a self-sacrificial move. They will they'll want to rename bridges after him and shit like that there'll be
that meme where the guys are in heaven reaching down to Joe.
Yeah, the Republicans are never going to line up behind.
Was I a good president?
But the Democrats,
no, Joe, you were the best.
Yeah, the Democrats are going to love this guy for his like self-sacrificing, heroic move, stepping aside for the good of the nation, et cetera, et cetera. If he steps down.
Really? Because you're suggesting he relinquishes his delegates prior to the convention and then they reallocate somewhere. In my opinion,
delegates? Oh, maybe I misunderstood. You're talking about primary delegates. So yeah, I think I am.
I'm talking about the delegates that he's carrying to like the convention right now is 3,400 and something or whatever, and you need like 1,800 to be the nominee. So he has to relinquish those so that they can go to the person who's going to be their nominee. Like that's a process that would have to happen. And the only way I can understand that could happen, unless he's incapacitated or dead, is that he says, I relinquish them. He's literally telling people, I know I have you, but no, I relinquish you. You must go elsewhere and find a new candidate. That's 14 million Democratic voters. That's what the primary was. 14 million that voted, whose votes meant nothing. You want to talk about, like, there's a big argument right now about owning the libs because they think we live in a democracy when actually we live in a democratic republic. And it's like, you learned that last week, dude. You didn't remember civics. Like you don't know. You probably couldn't explain the difference. But the big part of a democratic republic is that we vote for representatives who carry on the ideals that represent us. That's the whole fucking idea. That's a democratic republic. But you wipe that the fuck out when you just have a group of people in a room somewhere pick the guy who's going to run for president. It would be 1,500 people. It would be finding 1,500 people in that room to say this guy. That's all it takes, I think.
Yeah,
Who are those people?
How do they pick a new one? Do they just like so
There'd
no
be a
one
voting
gets, no one
process.
gets to
It'd be
vote
like a
on it
pope.
anymore?
It's happened before. Remember in around Prohibition time, like because I know in the Boardwalk Empire TV show, like they show that's happening at the convention, and they're like voting over and over.
So
like,
is it just like dealer's choice for the Democrats then? Like they kind of get to pick whoever they please to
It's like picking a new anyone. As far as I know, who meets the minimum requirements, they could pick Oprah.
I think they'd run Gavin Newsom before they ran Kamala.
Gavin's in the discussion. So was somebody.
Lady I'm so proud of myself if
Kamala,
they run Gavin Newsom.
Klobuchar, right. I think, and Newsom are the top people.
Buttigieg gets thrown in the conversation.
Klobuchar.
I think that's she. Who's the Michigan chick?
Yeah, she sucks.
Wait, am I right though? Do I have the right?
Yeah.
Or no, is it Gretchen Whitman? I think is the one I'm trying to say.
She's Michigan.
Yeah, that's who it is because they think she'd carry Michigan, which is pretty key to this whole thing. So Whitmer,
you see what I mean? Like with just invalidating all those 14 million people who went.
I do. I didn't look at it through that lens until you said it.
Like, what the fuck? I picked the guy and I respected that my guy didn't win because there's a whole process and everybody and we tabulated and counted. And now you're just saying that those guys are going to get together and have a little pope. There's a new pope getting voted in, and there's going to light the smoke when we got a dim.
Yeah,
that's how they used to do it, but I don't remember when it like changed to this way.
I have no idea.
Kyle was saying the 20s. I had like the 50s or 60s in my head, but I'm not confident enough to say he's wrong. I'm probably wrong.
I thought we always had
primaries like that. No, I always thought it was people with cigars in a smoky room that picked the president, the nominee.
Well, people voted, right?
In the convention.
I thought it was the people in the smoky rooms who were deciding who the peons would get to choose between. Like, that's how I always imagined it, not like them just choosing. Where they're like, they can vote for C. Edward Taft or T. Edward Hughes. They're both in our pockets, fools. And then run whoever.
Okay, so in 1924 there was one. The last brokered convention was in 1952. Yeah, so from 1952 to now we've been using the primary system. Prior to that, people with cigars and smoky rooms chose who the nominee was, and the convention was interesting because
I don't think that's true. I think maybe you're misunderstanding. I think the brokered convention happened because there wasn't a majority or something, or there was like a candidate who fell into disgrace or something. Like there was a real reason to go with the second place guy, and then there was a brokered convention to determine who it would be. Nailed it. Zach says I'm right.
Zach says you're right. Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't remember the exact issue in Boardwalk Empire, but I think maybe the candidate had like a mistress or something, and it was coming out, and there was a whole problem, and we needed to pick somebody new. And but I think we've always had a representative government, even back to the 1800s or earlier, where
I have a list of
voted
brokered conventions. It was 1952, and then it's like 32, 24, 20, 12, 1896, 1884. It's like every 4 years for the next 50. So I guess starting around Prohibition, it like barely ever happened.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It would probably came up with a better system for counting votes and assigning delegates that was more fair, so that you avoid that.
So I have no idea how it'll work. I have a feeling it's not going to be. By the convention, it'll be done if it's done.
You know what? One of our patrons, Robot, he placed a $1,000 bet that pays back $500 if Biden, I think, is the nominee. Was the bet, and the biggest fear is death. I think in that betting case, and he was like weighing when I heard that bet, I was like, dude, do it. That sounds like such a good bet. I wish I could gamble in my fucking.
He's only got to make it 4 more months.
Yeah. This guy's got to just be the candidate, and I just so believe he can. People linger. He has the best health medicine on the planet. No one has access to more fucking secret sauce than Joe Biden does right now. They will keep. They'll cure Parkinson's if it means he can continue on to the Novembers.
The bitter end.
So
I just tell dick jokes on the internet,
bet.
but I don't think death is the biggest thing. I think replacement is the biggest threat. He's going to live 4 months, I think.
He has to give it up. They can't take it.
Isn't that wild that like one of the people running for president were like, no, I'm pretty sure he'll live till election day.
One of
like,
them.
I think he'll make it. And then Trump, barring a McDonald's only enormous coronary, he'll make it, you know?
Yeah. Trump doesn't look like he's fading, but I've said for years, fat old people click off. Skinny old people fade. He does he looks good right now. Doesn't look good. He looks.
He's got an extra vibrant. Dark tan these days. He's got a new tan guy. He's got a new hair guy, and so he has switched to full on like election mode because he has a new spray tan guy and a new hair guy. He's got a whole new thing going on. Because he's fucking old as shit. But he's still hanging in.
If he wins again, it's gonna be funny to watch him get that president weight back because he got so fat. From like, what was it? Probably 16 to 18. Like he was just getting fatter and fatter and fatter.
He was just sitting in
a chubster, but he was.
I just imagine him having to sit at a table all day long. And one thing you can't fault him on, he rides the golf cart. God damn it. If he didn't have that golf cart, even if he had a caddy, I feel like that would be more respectable, right?
I saw him drive and it was actually it was better than I expected. Like he's pretty for an old fat fuck. He's pretty good.
It's what he does. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
be playing that much.
You know what he needs? Like if Putin does this, I think he was a driver in the army or something, or he has some back. He drives cars on publicly a lot, and you never see leaders doing that. And you almost sort of assume that they can't anymore. Like I think they asked Barack Obama, like, can you drive? I have a license. I haven't driven in years, because he hasn't. They don't drive anymore. They get driven everywhere. And to see Putin drive the car does sort of like connect him to the everyman. I know it's such a like propaganda thing to do, but it's like
him and Kim Jong-un laughing, listening to Party in the USA.
Not only that, earlier in the Ukraine war, there was this contested bridge and he drove a truck across it. He drove a truck across the bridge and it was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
So I like that, but I don't think driving, it doesn't have the same effect on me. Like to me, if you're president, you should be in the back of a limo. If I put you in a regular car, you look stupid. And I've seen Trump pretend to drive a fire truck before. It's pretty lame.
What if Trump had a comedians in cars getting coffee, but it was like conservatives in cars getting coffee or something? And he had like David Spade would be his first guest. I could program this fucking show so well. Trump's driving the car. David Spade is his first guest. David Spade, we have made up to look just like Trump because he already looks a bit like Trump. He's like a mini Trump. And he comes with the blonde hair, complete matching suit, and he does his Trump thing the whole time.
Impressions.
And Trump drives around. We could fake the drive. We clear off some roads somewhere. We get a movie set, whatever. But we make it seem like Trump is a fun, bubbly guy who's like pranking the comedian a little bit, like oh, I don't know, oh, I'm just fucking with you, like parallel park swell. Like
they break into carpool karaoke during this thing.
Yes, I need him to do that.
Don't stop believing.
Like he needs to be more likable, but what he's doing right now, I think he's pulling the Biden maneuver. He's in the bunker.
Yes,
he's in the bunker.
He is, and it's a good strategy, I think, because
it's wonderful.
Why would Trump change this news cycle? This news cycle is killing Biden, and it only helps the Democrats if it actually replaces Biden. Instead, it just hurts him. And if I'm Trump, I love it. I'm just like, yeah, you guys keep talking about what you're talking. I'm not going to go out there and fucking what shit
do
Trump
anything.
would say. Tell some lie, endorse some white nationalist. Whatever it is that Trump could do to change the news cycle, don't do it. This is the
and if anything, he's still doing his rallies, of course. So like, if the news gets starved for Trump, they have to do that thing they vowed not to do anymore.
Is Trump
televised Trump rallies? I feel like I see him doing every day.
I thought he was like addicted to rallying.
I thought he was. I
might be wrong.
Again, my YouTube algorithms, I need to reset it again. It's just titties and Trump.
It's just titties and Trump. Sounds like a good algorithm.
Yeah.
It's titties and Trump.
Just give me your login. This doesn't sound all bad.
It doesn't take long for that titty and Trump virus to take over.
He's going to do one in Florida, but I haven't. Everything else is from like a month ago.
Florida. That's the promised land for him. Like he turns out crowds in Florida. I guess everywhere, but Florida even more so.
Florida's red now. With the DeSantis won a bigger landslide than anybody's. He was like 60% of the vote down there. He's going to carry that easily. The question is, to me, is Michigan, Wisconsin, always Pennsylvania, and what's the other Rust Belt? Not Michigan, but Minnesota. Minnesota. And I'm wondering what the effect that all of those Muslims switching sides is going to have, in particular, based on the Israeli support in Michigan.
They're not going to switch sides. They're going to vote Democrat.
Yeah, I would be surprised. Yeah, they're real willy-nilly, those Muslims. You know how they are.
Trump is just as pro-Israel and Zionist as Biden.
So I agree with Taylor, except they might not vote.
Yeah, if they don't vote, that's good.
Those people vote. I'm telling you. Like here's what I know for sure. Biden's going to lose that Muslim vote up there. I just think those people mean what they say, and they say what they mean. You know what I mean? They're the ones. It's weird how those political spectrums touch on either end. How I see those towns who have been, I don't want to say taken over, but they've been populated by Muslim immigrants, and their city councils are now that
Ganesh.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, in any case, Biden's going to lose that Muslim vote up there, and I think Trump's going to win the day in a big way. My best prediction is that he wins. He wins Pennsylvania. He wins Wisconsin, and he wins either Michigan or Minnesota. One of them. They're all almost within the margin of error. Those he's going to coin flip some of them. He's going to get it.
Hope so.
And it's not like it, I remember in the days when Florida and Ohio were like the problem, because there was this big blue wall, and that's gone. Like Trump, I think he's got it. And, I think Biden lost it though. I think this race is Biden's to lose, not Trump's to win.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think I understand the difference, but I fucking hate this site, dude. This is my least favorite, and it's not for what you might be. This is 270 to win. I have it bookmarked, and everything that's close, they just call a toss up. You will never get any interesting information out of this site. Don't take it away yet, Zach. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona.
And this isn't
close to call, right? Like it's all the states. These are all the answers you already knew.
I could have made this and just been like, "Who's to say?" Who's to say?
This is the Who's to Say website. They don't make any decisions.
I think it's pretty good.
No, make some calls. Don't be a bitch.
So this is updated all the time, Kyle, based on polling results. And anything that's remotely close, these grays, they just don't make a prediction. So I would rather.
That's all it takes, Zach? Oh my God.
If he keeps clipping on it, it'll turn blue.
Give Arizona to Biden.
Guys, we can do this math in our heads.
Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, so I can tell you how it works out. If he needs all three Rust Belt states at the top, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. If he loses any of those, he has to get the two toss-ups, which is Nevada and I think Arizona, to make up for one of the three lost up top. Something like that. But it seems like his bet is to get the three up top.
Yeah. That's I saw New Hampshire shading much more close to a toss-up.
New Hampshire, dude, that whole they
go to 538 and show us New Hampshire with likely voters.
When's the last time New Hampshire even went Reagan? Like, did Reagan? It was probably Reagan or Nixon.
I do see New Hampshire. New Hampshire has Biden winning 71 times out of 100. Which you guys know, but some people confuse that with Biden getting 71% of the vote. That's not it. It's a subtle thing. He gets more than half 71% of the time.
Okay, that's a lot closer than I would have thought. New Hampshire's not going to go.
But sometimes I look at states like New Hampshire and be like, if New Hampshire went red, he won 3 states ago.
Yeah.
If you go to 578, they have this snake that I think is a really interesting way of looking at the race, and you can see how many states need to flip in the other direction.
Yeah, I look forward to election night and watching it happen. It's a very dramatic time, and the newscasters, of course, have vested interests, and right now YouTube is feeding me that 2016 Trump win shit. You know, there's and the best ones are the ones that go back to like the first time Rachel Maddow found out Trump was going to be like the nominee, and like the rant she went on, and like he's not going to be the president, he's not going to be the nominee, he's not even going to be in this a week from now. You get away from this huckster, and then you fast forward to like election night, and it's like we're afraid.
Yeah,
and we should be afraid. You should all be afraid.
He had such a headwind. Do you remember on the debate stage? This is the primary debates for 2016. They were like, "What do you think of this election having like no class and it's being won by a carnival barker or something close to that?" And I think it was Ted Cruz who was like, "Don't talk to us like that," and sort of stuck up for Trump. That's how I remember it. I could be off, but they didn't think he was. Even when he was winning, they discounted him for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and it creates this montage of disbelief and ridicule, slowly changing to fear and disbelief, and it's fun to watch. Like I don't dislike any of those people in particular. I enjoy watching Rachel Maddow. She's fun. She's got spunk. There
was a really big swing at the end of 2016 that wasn't represented in the polls when Comey announced that he was investigating Hillary Clinton for some sort of criminal something or other. So the polls, which take like 10 days to reflect bad news, didn't reflect it yet, but the votes did.
There were that was a big part of it, but also there were missing Trump votes because Trump voters were embarrassed to be Trump voters, and they weren't talking to pollsters. It was often framed as Trump voters don't want anything to do with the left-wing survey ideology or some shit. And it's like, they are. If there was going to be a guy to be like, get the hell off my property, he's probably conservative. And also, like, if you're a Trump voter, you might just been like, it's a little distasteful, but I'm voting for Trump. You don't even want to admit it. You're like, you don't want anybody writing it down. And so they were. I
remember the narrative
that came in hordes, and there were.
I remember the narrative about the shy Trump voter. It doesn't match my personal observation. To me, Trump voters are the least shy fucking people in America.
Some of them are.
They've got their hats and their flags and it's their fucking dress code.
That's why
but
the other
thing that
part
happens,
of them is shy, though. Like the part that you see makes the other side
makes the other side that want to be associated with those people.
Yeah.
The Trump voters were undercounted. What happens is they don't just. If I do a poll, I look at who I polled and sort of massage those results in an effort to make it more accurate. It sounds dirty, but it's not. They're just like, we polled 70% Republicans. That's going to ruin it in our random sample. So we'll take this poll and try to make it reflect likely voters. Well, in 2016 or 2016, yeah, I said it right. A lot of people who don't normally vote came out. Trump inspired voters who aren't reliable voters, but they became that.
Yes. Yeah.
It'll be fun to see what happens this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Taylor's happiness watch, I think.
Salivating.
Well, let's get to Taylor's dinner.
All right.
I'm hungry.
Cool. I got this out of my system on a PKN. Good.
Perfect.
Dude, you want to shift to the debates?
Oh, yeah.
Why are they starting it at 9:00? That's wild.
This is hard for me. I'm a political junkie. For all of you who don't want to hear about politics, you're welcome. You have no idea how much restraint I've shown as Trump got convicted for 34 felonies, how much restraint I've shown as like the weekly stuff comes out. Biden says something silly. Trump says something silly. I follow this shit like the biggest sports fan you've ever met.
You think he hates Dr. Disrespect? You don't even know how much he hates Donald Trump.
He hates Trump more. Yeah.
I try to follow with an unbiased heart. I doubt I succeed, but it is my goal. And tonight is like, I don't know, finals game 1. Like this is where the chip is earned. And we haven't seen
the moderator? Like who?
It's CNN and it's Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And I have thoughts on that too. Like a lot of people on the Trump side, they're like playing the refs already. They're like, those guys are so biased. They're terrible. They're going to be against us. We hate them.
Yeah.
And I think their goal is to get them to swing in the other direction and make sure that they can't possibly be accused of Trump bias, perhaps by being biased against Biden. I don't know. So I'll evaluate them after they're done. I mean, I recognize that Jake Tapper probably in his heart doesn't like Trump, but we'll see what he says.
Said horrific.
Yeah,
they played montages of Jake Tapper.
Did they?
Like,
yeah.
I just saw a tweet from like a while ago But I
He
don't.
was one of those like, to save democracy, don't vote for this guy.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Like he was like.
Well, we'll see how he does in the thing. But like I said, I never thought Jake Tapper in his heart wasn't down the middle. But we'll see how he does in the debate.
I think he's very evidently partisan.
He's so far left.
I'm not denying. Okay, let's all agree.
You can play
on
his
that.
own words on YouTube and watch montages of him treating the Trump presidency like it was, and we needed to be. Are you afraid as you walk down the street like millions of other Americans? Like just a piece of shit. Those guys are so biased.
That's how I feel how the right does it right now.
They do.
Tell you,
but they admit it. They're not hiding, and no one is like,
admitting it's the difference.
I don't know. John Hannity, he's right down the middle, fella. I tell you, he tells you like it is.
In his heart.
They say no. John Hannity's right wing. He was in the ministry, like he was almost a Catholic priest, and now he does talk radio. What side do you think he's on?
I mean, of course you admit it. He actually attends Trump rallies and speaks to the crowd behind the podium. Like that's you get hard to deny. Like
I mean, like I don't know who this other person is you mentioned as a moderator, but like
you would if you saw
Jake Tapper's pretty
Dana
funny.
Bash. You probably recognize her.
It's not even. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the format's going to be, how it's going to work, how interruptions are going to be handled, how the microphone muting is going to handle, how the fact checking is going to be displayed or given to the. And I don't know what the live audience looks like either.
So they ask a question, you get, I think, 90 seconds to answer it, and then the rebuttals are 60 seconds. If it's not that, it's 60 and 30, but it's something like that. The other person's mic it's not fully muted, like CNN did this demonstration, but the other guy sounds garbled and unintelligible. You can only hear, like, perhaps that he's saying something without making out the words. And
that's not even a debate.
Well... Is it? I mean, in a debate, you're typically like Hope was in speech and debate, and you don't get to interrupt and yell over each other. Instead, you remain quiet while that person goes and you take turns. What Trump did last time was just try to yell over Biden, especially in the first debate. He yelled over Biden the whole time.
Well, in traditional speech and debate, like I'm sure Hope participated in, like they take it much more seriously staying on topic than they do in these political kind of shows where it's like, actually you're debating oil production in the United States compared to nuclear. Could we get back to that? Like because it's a class and because they'll like force them to do that. Like a lot of
speech and debate is worse, I would argue. So like what would happen is I'd make my point and I try to have like 7 facts that back me up. Now you're in this position where you have to beat all 7, and if you don't, I'm beating you. And it's like, I think if you very persuasively beat 3 of them, you should win, even if there's 4 silly, stupid things. They don't like weight and grade my different things. It's just like who scored. Woody's up 4-0 because Taylor couldn't beat him. Now it's Taylor's turn. See how many Woody can dispute. And that's not what I'm going for. Debunk. And but this, it's a little more about charisma and persuasion, but we'll see. I like him muting it. Well, better yet, I want to try muting it because I've tried the interruption fest and I don't like it much.
I'm hoping somebody goes off script. I'm hoping it gets nasty and juvenile. I hope they're shouting and name calling. I hope that he talks about Biden's children and Biden talks about Trump's. I hope he calls Trump a felon and he's like takes one to no one or some shit.
I watched I watched the person who prepared Biden for his debates in 2020. It was a woman, and she was ripping on Biden's children, so that when Trump did it, it wouldn't be the first time he hears this. And Biden put his hand on her wrist and he's like, "I think you're enjoying this a little too much," which I thought was funny.
Yeah, well, she's like, "I am. I love it."
But
I don't think anything we don't already know about these two is going to be uncovered. Like that, it's just people like watching.
The pundits are all saying that it's about vibe. Like, can Trump stay hinged? I don't know if hinged is a term, unhinged is, but right. If Trump can not go unhinged, and if Biden can stay alert and capable and cognitively there, those are the things they're trying to prove. And to your point, it's really not about policy, although that's what I always like. I don't think that's what everybody likes.
What did you think about Trump asking for a drug test?
It's that to me is one of Trump many like digs and attacks. That's just like part of Trumpism. I didn't think that it was like actually a clever point that lands him voters. It's no different than him saying, Hunter's a cokehead.
It's just a way to
Hunter is a
reinforce
cokehead.
his argument passively by being like,
Hunter's
hey,
cool.
this guy isn't with it. This guy's crazy. He's an old doddering man who's confused constantly. Like
Right.
it's just him. It's just a red meat statement.
And if he's not that at all, it's because they have drugs that last for 30 minutes that he took right before the debate. And
that's a big
what he's
right-wing
doing.
talking point that Biden is on something when he speaks, because there are 2 or 3 different versions of Biden that we get. There's Sleepy Joe, and he still exists. I've seen Sleepy Joe in the last month. He's all fucking stroked out looking.
And then people behind him are like
There's
visible.
Mr. Burns Joe fucking creeping around with his vampire hand.
I'm going to make a prediction here, and we'll see what comes. But I think,
and then there's Alert State of the Union Joe.
I think Joe's a game day player, and that the version of him you see that's dragging and confused and walking around stage like a Roomba is when like this is the 5th thing he did that day. He's exhausted and he's not the best version of himself. But he's going to come into this thing where this is the only thing he's really got going for today. As a matter of fact, all week long, this has been his primary focus. And we should see Game Day Joe. We'll see.
My lord, the drugs are precious. We must save them for the debate.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like, they debunk the fuck out of that. They're like, Adderall does not.
How would they debunk it?
Adderall apparently does nothing for cognitive decline. There's another drug of Ritalin, I think, that does nothing for cognitive decline. There's one like Provavil. I'm terrible with drug names.
That they have a magic
that lasts for
brain
12
pill?
hours. So the Republican talking point is that the reason you see him trail off after 60 minutes and not do as well in the final 30 in his State of the Union is that the drug only lasts.
See, this is an interesting, real quick, Kyle. This is an interesting example of how fact checking actually works. Is people go, this is a doddering old man who's being led around on stage regularly, like mumbling in a way that even the people, his handlers, can't understand. And then some conspiracy theorists will be like, he's taking ultra super secret, like Alex Jones level. He's taking secret pills that make him a genius for brief windows. And then the fact checkers, instead of like what the true accusation there is, like this guy's goosed up because he's an old man, and they go instead, fact check. There is no magic limitless style pill that makes you a genius. Debunked. And then people who are convinced that Joe Biden is just selectively cogent will latch onto that, and people who are convinced that he's on pills won't pay attention to it, and they'll be like, nah, he is. He's clearly.
I think the accusation isn't that he has a limitless pill.
I think I buy into the idea that he does worse at the end of a long day.
You think
not
he's like
if he
early,
takes
like
Adderall? So the accusation is that he's taking stimulants, not that he has something that makes his neurons fire better, not that he has something that not even that it is something that improves cognitive performance on any measurable scale, something that peps him up. He's taking pep pills like Hitler did. Yeah, I think they both and I'm not. That's the accusation that they're making, that they're shooting him up with. And look, I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe when it's State of the Union Day, they let him have a nap in the afternoon. Maybe that's it. I could believe. Give Joe 2 cups of coffee, make him strong. I could believe that's it. That honestly, I think that's probably it. If I'm being real, I'm not. I bet on State of the Union night, they're like, make sure the president gets his 3-hour nap this afternoon. He is an 80-year-old man. He thrives on them. Then give him 2 strong cups of coffee 30 minutes before we hit the stage. That way the jitters die down, and he'll be fucking Joe from 1995 again. I can believe that.
He's 81. Huh.
Yeah, he's
what you know.
Well, State of the Union,
man.
he was 80 during the State of the Union, though.
He probably, I don't know. He might be right. Yeah.
He gets
I'm just making it up. So my point
it works for me. I don't know.
But that would be my guess. He also could be, and I wouldn't discount it, that he's on a stimulant, a methamphetamine of some kind, like Adderall or Ritalin.
I just want you to hear that part. If you think Trump is above taking an upper of some sort for,
we know he takes them.
Yeah, of course he probably.
I've seen the photos.
Pictures of his uppers. He's a man.
He has taken photos with.
I like to tweak.
His drawer was open and he had way too many uppers in it. But I didn't see him actually put them in his mouth. Maybe
what do you call an X? like you call tweets or Twitter on Twitter, you make tweets. On X, what do you make? Posts.
Yeah.
Everyone
Man, he
says
got
tweets still. Like it hasn't caught on.
I really like the conversation we just had should have been had in front of Elon. Be like, see, here's the deal, Elon. Everybody posts stuff. We post stuff everywhere. It's a very old word, post. But tweeting something, we invented that here. When someone says I tweeted it or I read a tweet, everyone knows what app it was.
Yeah.
If now forevermore someone sees a post on X and they say, where did you get that information? That late breaking news, and they'll say, I read a post online.
I read an X. No one says that.
No.
Yeah, it says it's every bit as dumb as if Kleenex were to change their name. It's like, bro, no, you nailed it. You are the thing. Kleenex is the word they use.
It's the name for the other fucking delicate
tissue.
Wipes.
What is it called?
For tissues.
Facial tissue, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know what the branding is. It's for blowing your nose. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Kleenex is it. Or if Google were to change their name, it'd be just as big a mistake. Like Google's a verb, and you don't change that. You've got it locked in.
Yeah. That's what. It's weird that he changed that.
How long is the debate supposed to be?
90 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
Of actual like participation and talking, or like
no,
90-minute TV block?
If there's not 2 commercial breaks, there's 3. It's something like that.
Why would they start it at? Isn't it 9 Eastern? Right?
Yes, it is 9. I'm
that
pretty
seems
sure.
Like when a Blues game when they're playing the fucking Hurricanes and a game starts at 9 Eastern. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? This won't be done till 11.
You think it should have? So it should go till 10:30. Would 8 to 9:30 be better? I don't know, because that's 5 West Coast.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think 9 is the time.
That's so. I guess East Coast people are used to staying up late for this stuff. It just feels late. These are 2 geriatric men. They're going to be sleepy.
Which one do you think does more late night?
I know
work?
Biden's a night owl, and I suspect Trump is.
Everybody knows Trump's is. He's always on social media like late at night. I don't think that'll affect him.
I think
they both got their naps. I want nastiness. I want Trump to yell something mean, and Biden's not about being mean now too. So he could come back with some snarky shit too. There's some little clips for us to watch. That's my big hope from the debate. If I had to guess now, I'd say Biden's probably the more likely one to win. I would say right now. So I think the onus is on Trump to do well. And if you're a Trump fan, or if you're just a Biden hater, you better hope for Biden to drop the ball tonight, because that's what we need.
Both sides. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
Yeah.
Both sides said that Trump didn't really prepare for this debate. Instead, he went on podcasts and shows and did rallies and stuff like that, but he didn't do mock debates. He feels like that. And he didn't like study up on issues, because he feels like that's school and he doesn't like it. But we'll see, because part of me is like, you didn't prep for the debate. You didn't do your homework. You're going to look like a fool. But the debate's not about the things that I like. I like to see some guy have a well-formed policy, or list the things that actually happened and prove why they're right about a thing.
That's not.
But I think the actual winner of a debate is the one who had the big gotcha moment.
I think he's going to come off better, more commanding and trustworthy, and less petty. I think if you come off looking juvenile and weak, I think if they can see that your feelings are hurt and you're lashing out, that's a terrible look. I think you got to keep calm and collected while not getting bulldozed over, and that goes for both of them.
I think the rules are different for Biden. I think if Trump, for example, if Trump were to attack Biden's kids, that would just be Trump. Right? This is what he does. If Biden turns around and counterattacks Trump's children, maybe Don's cocaine accusations or Kushner's investments or whatever he goes for, Biden will look bad. He'll lose that exchange.
Honestly, it's because all you've got is maybe, I don't know about those cocaine allegations. I think you just made them.
No, they came from unreliable internet sources, but they are what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you. I'm teasing, but what I'm saying is, one guy's kid was convicted of the crimes surrounding his drug use, and that and just to once again show how centrist I am. The crimes he was accused of are nonsense, non-constitutional fucking crimes. Gun use by a felon or by a drug user or whatever the fuck it is. It's basically lying on your 4473 form when you purchase a gun. Are you a drug user? No. Oh, Like, I don't
He
like
had that gun for like 7 days.
Oh, okay.
What?
That I don't believe. That
No.
I believe they managed to they paid someone to craft a narrative in which that
You're
is
just
true.
wrong, and I'll explain why.
I
His
wanna know.
wife took the gun, threw it away, reported to the police in which dumpster they would find it, and they did.
What?
Yeah.
All right,
like
that
this-
says.
yeah,
See, that
proof.
makes him look worse, though.
Oh yeah, he was a drug addict, and he and his wife were not in a good place.
That's
And-
worse than just owning the gun for a year.
Yeah, I don't know. To
He
me,
was
it's
so unstable. The person who knows him most threw the gun away and called the authorities. Meanwhile,
to prove out Centra Cyan. This all seems accurate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about right.
That's a wild for me. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Ryan joining us
Up,
on
man?
the show.
Earbuds finally work in StreamYard.
Oh, your microphone is
Your
technical.
mic,
Yeah,
Your mic is
oh,
blown out.
I've heard
oh,
better.
Brought you in on a high and just just on the way to the stage.
Oh man,
Oh, they were booing the
Yeah,
doc, but now
can't-
all the
can't hear
boos
you
are in the
now.
Richard Ryan section.
muted. You're muted, bro.
Be right back.
He'll figure it out.
So, okay, say
I have
something?
the AirPods.
Can't hear you yet.
Yeah. That is your game.
Zach, can you provide him instruction in the sidebar?
Hold on.
And
Zach's
yeah.
like, I'll handle it.
Zach
You're
says
about to
I'll
get beat
handle
up, Richard Ryan.
Yeah. Zach's a big boy. Or I guess Richard and Zach are big boys, but
Yes.
Zach's lean.
I like that lean. I was about to say the same thing, and I was struggling for a complimentary phrasing.
Where it'll be like,
those will be
check
good.
out this funny clip of Trump, going on one of his rants, or Biden forgetting what he's doing mid
Or
sentence,
mispronouncing a word or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't like. It's just they should be like no holds barred, like verbal fights up there. Like, I want the debates to be like the way British people do Parliament, where it's like, oh, that's interesting you'd say that, mate, because you're a pedo. Isn't that true? Did you guys not know this? Oh, yeah, a real pedo. And the other one's like, mate, I say so. And it slaps him with a glove. Like, that's what I want. I want to see if these guys are capable of fighting in a way that isn't so carefully curated by whatever television network has rights to air it. Because that when I hear stuff like, well, we have to mute some mics, we have to, quick transition away from things at times and shut this person down in the middle of a point, like that tells me like, okay, well, that's interesting. That can be used in a way that involves a lot of bias. Who's making the determinations for when these measures are taken? People like Jake Tapper. At
So you're
CNN
wrong on that
today.
part. I agree with you in the beginning. The measures, there's a clock that does that measuring. And what was the second one? When they shut down, the mics are muted when it's not your turn to talk. Boom.
Yeah.
I do like the idea. I've seen the British Parliament debates, like you're talking about, and they're fantastic. But in America, it's proven that they just scream over each other, and whoever doesn't stop talking wins the point, and it's shit.
I think it should be that, because they don't delve into anything deep enough anyway to solve it. It'll be Trump Trump will be like, I love Israel more, and Biden will be like, no, that's not true. I was Jewish for many years back in 1930. and then Trump will be like, you're a liar. Oh, I'm a Jew too. Do you know this? I'm Jewish. Like,
We've tried them talking at
argue
the
about
same
Israel.
time. I'm ready to try something else, because the same time thing was terrible.
When you give too much power to moderators, you just get whatever they want to happen up there, which is going to
whatever
be
it's clocks. Like, I don't know why you think the moderators have all this power. They're timed responses, and then the mic's cut off.
Often you don't get enough time to respond in a real way. They'll be like, oh, talk about how...
But you're acting like the
inflation
mods
is
are
harming-"
determining when the mic's cut off.
They do.
The clock does.
Sometimes to me it feels like UFC
Moderators
rules
set the
infractions
time limit.
where there are
The
those
teams
timers
agreed
and
to the
stuff.
time limit months ago.
But
It's just stupid. Like, there's no way to actually have a meaningful discussion. Like, if we tried to solve any issue, even a tech issue, in like a 90-second back and forth
We'd be
response,
fucked.
no
Yeah.
one is coming out of that with more knowledge or insight than they went into it. Like, it's just, okay, it's your turn to say whatever speaking points you were told by your handlers to say. Interesting, very interesting. Now you say that. And so the time limit is almost a way to shut down any sort of actually engaging and genuine discourse, because it's just going, point to point to point to point, and nothing gets solved or discovered. And that's
I
why
hear
these
you.
debates
I just
always
have less
like-
trust in each side of the politicians to make their points quickly and not just filibuster.
I'd put them in bubbles. I'd put them in bubbles like a fucking game show. I would put them in bubbles with cones of silence. I don't even want to be able to hear you yell loud enough to make his microphone pick up or some shit. Like, I genuinely want them to be silenced and have exact amount of times. That's how you would do it if you wanted to get.
I'm in the middle. I like what they're doing,
results.
which is you kind of embarrass yourself if you try to talk when it's not your turn. I hear you mumbling. I can barely make it out. You sound like a frustrated old man. Go ahead. You know, and then the person who is able to wait for his turn looks better.
Yeah, I disagree. I would rather see it and have it feel a bit sincere and genuine. Like, I want to see them get heated and yell at each other a bit. That's good. That's more compelling and interesting. Like, seeing two people rattle off whatever their, pledges page on their donor site is not interesting.
Yeah.
You don't learn anything.
We tried that. Trump lost. I thought in my eyes, Trump seemed kind of alpha, but everybody hated him. He came off like an asshole and he crashed in the polls and lost the race. That's what happened in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little harsh and revisionist. Like, a lot of people,
It's a little pumped it up.
yeah.
Maybe I pumped it up a little, but that is what
It's-
happened.
it's
People
like
thought he
most-
was an asshole.
well,
And practically
you're-
everyone agrees he
I think
lost.
you're
the first
referencing a
debate.
New York Times post poll, right?